Good morning. My name is Shayak Datta, and today we are going to learn about a topic of geography which will be important for your UPSC Civil Services examination. We are going to learn about how winds are created, and this is a topic in your climatology part of geography. Now, when we understand how winds are created, before we understand this, it is important for us to know how pressure gets created on the surface of the earth. Now you see, you have one particular area and the air above that particular area is getting heated due to some reason. That can be the sun rays, that can be the terrestrial radiation, which is resulting in the temperature of that area rising, and that is ultimately leading to the air above that particular area getting heated. Whenever something gets heated, it expands in volume, and similar is the case with air as well. When air will get heated, it will expand in volume, it will become lighter, and hence it will rise up. This upward movement of air, we can also call it as the ascent of air. This kind of ascent of air leads to heat transfer, which is called as convection. So, an area over which air is getting heated, leading to the air rising up, that is convectional current of air is getting created, that will lead to low pressure formation at that particular area on the surface of the earth. So, air rising up, low pressure formation takes place. Similarly, if you have another area where instead of air rising up, you have air coming down, that is, descent of air is taking place. How will descent of air takes place? Descent of air will take place when the air becomes heavier. When will air become heavier? When it is getting cooled due to some reason. Now, you have an area on the surface of the earth over which the air is getting cooled due to some reason, that will lead to descent of air, also called as subsidence of air taking place. Whenever we have an area over which subsidence of air takes place, that will lead to a high pressure creation over that particular surface. So suppose we have two particular spots on the surface of the earth. One is having a low pressure creation because of air becoming heated and rising up, and at another spot you have high pressure creation because of air getting cooled and coming down, that is subsidence of air is taking place. Now if you have such two areas, one having low pressure, the other having high pressure, you can understand naturally air will try to flow from the area of its high pressure to the area of its low pressure. So air will always try to flow from the area where it is more in quantity, that is the area of its high pressure, to the area where it is less in quantity, that is area of its low pressure. Now this is what is understood as, this difference in pressure is what is understood as the pressure gradient. Pressure gradient, gradient means a slope. So two areas having difference in pressure will give rise to a pressure gradient, which will make air flow from the area of its high pressure to the area of its low pressure. And this movement of air, which if it is horizontal, this horizontal movement of air from the area of its high pressure to the area of its low pressure along the pressure gradient will be a result of the pressure gradient force. And this pressure gradient force, which will make air move from the area of its high pressure to the area of its low pressure horizontally, this movement of air then will be called as advection. Advection is what causes wind to flow. Now to understand advection and how it actually works on the surface of the earth, if we look at the earth, okay, there are some important latitudes that you should be aware of. We have one particular latitude, that is the 0 degree, which is called as the equator. Similarly, we have another latitude that is called as the Tropic of Capricorn in the northern hemisphere, around 23.5 degree north. That is called as the Tropic of Capricorn. Similarly, we have another very important latitude in the southern hemisphere at 23.5 degrees south. 23.5 degrees south. This is called as the Tropic of Capricorn. You see, Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degree north, Tropic of Capricorn at 23.5 degrees south. The area which is covered between these two, it is called as the tropics, which will have a comparatively higher temperature than the area beyond it. Next, after this Tropic of Cancer, if we go further polewards, that is, if we go further north, we come across another very important latitude, which is found at around 66.5 degree north. Around 66.5 degree north, we have what we call as the Arctic Circle. On the other hand, similarly, if we go further towards the south, that is towards the South Pole, we encounter another important latitude at around 66.5 degrees south. At 66.5 degrees south, we see another important latitude which is called as the Antarctic Circle. So we have equator at 0 degree, which divides the earth into two equal hemispheres, one to the north, the other to the south. One is called as the northern hemisphere, the other is called as the southern hemisphere. And we have another important latitude at 23.5 degree north, which is called as the Tropic of Cancer. Similarly, 23.5 degrees south, we have the Tropic of Capricorn. 66.5 degree north, we have the Arctic Circle. 66.5